Hi, everybody. Welcome to our customer webinar. Thank you for joining us today. I'm going to give everybody a couple of minutes to join us, and then we will go ahead and get started. Hi, everybody. Welcome in. We'll go ahead and get started soon. Just give about another minute or so for people to file in. I hope everyone's having a great day. All right. Hi, everybody. Welcome. We're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you for joining us today. I'm really excited to be hosting this customer webinar. Today, we're going to walk through the analytics dashboard. My name's Elise Avila. I'm a customer success manager here at Peerlogic. So let's go ahead and get started. So first things first, a couple of housekeeping items. So you'll notice that there's a chat in the bottom right. Please use that to engage with other Peerlogic customers. If you have questions throughout our webinar, feel free to drop those in that chat. We'll have some people on our team to help answer some questions, and we'll also have a live Q&A session at the end. So keep an eye on that chat, and we're going to be covering lots of things today. What we're going to review today, we're going to review the AI analytics dashboard. We are going to dive into call details, marketing analytics, some of those commonly used areas in the analytics dashboard. And we'll also take a peek at some of the Amy analytics that we have as well. All right, everyone, let's go ahead and dive right in. I'm going to go ahead and start sharing my screen. All right. Okay, so this is going to be our main page of our dashboard. So as you can see, there's going to be a traffic breakdown, and this is where you're going to see all of the traffic that is coming in and out of the office. So you'll see total inbound calls, those that were answered, those that were missed, and then those that went to voicemail. So as you can see in this top right corner, you can utilize this drop-down filter to zoom in on smaller time frames, maybe zoom out to see more long-term trends with that call traffic that's coming into the office. So very customizable here. We also have this custom range filter where you can kind of zoom in on a specific time frame if that's what you're looking for. So, like I said, you're going to see all of these different types of calls. Those were answered, missed, voicemail. You'll also see a distribution chart that's going to sort of highlight the busiest days of the week for your office. So, you can use these insights to kind of see which days in the office are the busiest, and then kind of use that to make some internal staffing changes or whatever that might be to kind of make sure that all of that traffic is getting accounted for. Um, and one thing I want to point out here is this hyperlink feature. So if we hover over all of these numbers and we click into these, it's going to take us directly to the Call Explorer, which we will dive a little bit deeper into here in a couple of minutes. But let's say that you wanted to look at the missed calls that came into the office yesterday. Let's say your practice had a super busy day. You know that there's some outstanding missed calls and voicemails. You can change that filter to yesterday, click into, the missed calls or the voicemail, whatever you want to dial into, and it'll take you directly to a list of calls where you can go ahead and take a look at those calls and see if there is some patient outreach that's needed there. So really great feature that I like to highlight. Moving down, I'm going to go ahead and start covering our opportunity section. So you'll see here a opportunities chart. This is opportunities that are created from calls that came into the office that were answered. So this is going to create opportunities that were either from existing patients or new patients. And then you can see this is broken down further into those that were able to successfully book an appointment and those that were not. So the part that we like to really highlight here that could bring a lot of value to your practice to capture that, capture those new patients. Um, Taking a look at these new patients that were not booked. And you can, again, you'll see that this turns purple. You can go ahead and click into it. It'll take you to that call explorer and you'll see all of those new patients that called in and were not able to book an appointment for whatever reason. So this is a great feature here to help you, like I said, just capture those new patients if that's one of your practice's goals. And even checking in on these existing patients, seeing why they were not able to get an appointment booked on your calendar. All right. Like I said, as I'm going through everything, everybody, feel free to drop questions in our chat. Um, we have Shelby on our team to help answer questions as well. So as they come up, feel free to drop them in there. All right. I'm going to go ahead and make this time frame a little bit larger, zooming out to the last 30 days so that way we can see this new patient opportunities breakdown. So as you can see, this is going to show you new patients that were booked versus those that were not booked, giving you a little bit of a conversion rate here. So you can scroll in and out to kind of see how your practice has made progress here over a period of time. We have this blue conversion rate on the right side that again is just going to show you a conversion rate, this time between existing patients and new patients. And again, that scroll feature is here as well. So you can kind of see how your practice has made improvements over time with that conversion rate. All right, there's a couple of graphs here that are still loading, but this practice benchmark, this is going to give you an overview of how your practice compares to a industry standard and also an organizational standard. So you'll see a practice, org, and industry values here. So the practice is going to be just that individual single office. If you are within a larger organization and there's other offices within that organization, you will see that number compared to the org value. If you're just a single practice, just one office, you can kind of just disregard that. It'll just show the values from your single practice, but we also have that compared to the industry standard, which is going to be all of those dental offices that are with us with Peerlogic, so you can kind of see how that compares there. Give me 1 second. Looks like I got logged out there. Sorry, everybody. Give me 1 second. If you have any questions in the meantime, like I said, feel free to drop those in. All right, here we go. Kicks me out. Start resharing my screen here. Okay, we are back. I'll give it a second for that to come up to our screen. Awesome. Okay, back in business here. Okay, I'm gonna see if we can make this time frame a little smaller. Wait for these charts to load over here. But yeah, as you can see, back to that practice benchmark, you'll see a couple of um, data points here, appointment scheduled value, lost appointment opportunities. So great way to check in and kind of see how your practice compares to other standards. All right, I am going to give this a couple more seconds to load. If not, we can go ahead and come back to these other graphs here. Taking a look at the chat, looks like everyone is joining from all over. We have Lauren from Alpharetta, Kathy from Las Vegas. Awesome. Okay. Here are those other graphs. Final things to cover here on this main dashboard, everybody. We have this call purpose donut graph. This is just going to show you a distribution of the call purposes that patients are calling in the office for, what they're looking to do. Um, as you can see for this practice, we have new appointments, to reschedule appointments, confirm appointments, cancel. So those are those main call purposes. And then you can also see the reasons a patient was not able to book. So as you can see for this practice, we have a couple of instances such as insurance not taken, pricing, scheduling, etc. So great areas to just kind of check in and see, kind of just a little pulse check with your patients and what they're calling in the office for. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to our call explorer. So as I mentioned here, a couple of the hyperlink features on this main dashboard is going to take you to that call explorer, which is this little compass on the left-hand side. So that is going to take you to this page that'll show you all of the calls coming in and out of the office. So here you can see there's a few different filters that we can utilize to help us filter out these calls. There's filters such as caller type, so you can filter out new patients versus existing. You can change the direction of the call, whether it went to voicemail or not, whether it was a missed or connected call. You can plug in the caller number if you know that as well as the extension. And if you utilize our marketing insights, you can click into any of your campaigns that you have active with us, and then you'll be able to filter out that way as well. Couple more filters just to highlight here. We have call purpose, so why patients are calling in, and then call outcome, so whether it was a success or failure. Um, this notes section is going to, you can filter out if a call has notes, which we'll get a little bit more into that here in a bit. And then you can also search these notes. So if you are using our notes feature for training purposes, you can quickly come in here, filter out the calls that have notes, or just filter out the calls with specific keywords from the notes. So really great feature there. Couple more things here. You'll notice that same time frame drop down that you can use to zoom in and zoom out on time frames. We have this search transcripts feature. So this will allow you to search keywords within a call transcript. So if you know yesterday you're looking for a call that came in with a patient and you know that you were discussing, they were discussing needing a crown, you can type in those keywords here, filter that out, and it's going to filter out all of the calls where that keyword was said in the transcript. You can also download this data into a CSV sheet. So, if you're looking to pull certain data points or data or calls from a certain time period, you can absolutely do that as well. Final thing here, just going over some of the points in the call explorer. You'll see that you have a timestamp, so date and time that the call occurred. You'll see the direction of the call, the caller's name, caller number. The receiver and receiver extension is going to show you where that call ended up. So whoever ended up answering and taking that call. You'll see a caller type here, whether it was existing patient. As you can see here, we have a contractor vendor call. The call connection, as I mentioned earlier. This is a new added feature showing the campaign. So if you utilize our marketing insights, this is added to kind of just make it easier to see what marketing campaign those calls are coming in from. And then just a couple of more points here, the call sentiment, the purpose, and then their booking status, if it was successful or not. So if we click into one of these call details, this one of these timestamps, you'll see it'll take you to call details. So the call details page is where you can really get granular with this call data. You can look into the summary of the call, the transcript, and then timestamp. So this is going to be the caller and the whoever at the front desk took the call, going back and forth between that conversation. Um, if you click into any of these, you'll
Yeah.
see that it will take you directly to that time in the call, so you don't really have to worry about toggling through the call or listening to a super long call to just get to that one point in the conversation that you're trying to listen to. So great feature there. You can also copy the transcript or download the audio for someone who may not have access to this platform. So another great feature there. And then a couple of call metrics. You'll see the caller number here, whoever received the call, and then if there's any linked patients with that call as well. This insights tab is just going to give you a couple of insights that came out of that call. So as you can see for this one, the patient that called in was just confirming their appointment, and it was a success because they were able to do so. And then this is that training and notes page that I mentioned earlier. So if your staff is utilizing our call explorer and call details to pull calls that are good examples for training, handling certain conversations with patients in a certain way, you can tag these calls. That way you can easily save them and keep them for training purposes. All right. I am going to, let's see, go ahead and take a second to answer some of these questions that are popping up in the chat. So Lauren, your question, are the notes for calls put in manually or automatically when the call concludes? So great question here. This is going to be manual. So this is purely for the front staff to come in here and add those notes if they feel it's needed. So yes, this is going to be a manual feature. All right, and then from June, we have, would you please demonstrate a new patient missed opportunity to find for a specific team member's call? Sure, so let me make sure I understand this. Okay, so you're looking to, correct me if I'm wrong, but you are wanting to kind of filter out or see how you can filter out calls that were a new patient that was a missed opportunity from a specific team member. So the way I would recommend doing that, let me share my screen again. Give me one moment. Go back to this call explorer. One second. All right. So great question there. All right, here we go. Okay. Great question, June. So if you're looking to do that, what I would recommend is first coming in here, caller type, you're first going to want to filter out the new patients that called in. And then if it's a missed opportunity, so there could be a couple of instances, but I would say, generally you could put the call outcome as a failure because that's going to mean that it was a new patient that called in and whatever they were calling in the office for, it wasn't a successful. So likely if it's a new patient, right, they're wanting to book an appointment. So I would do that, come in here. And then as far as narrowing down which team member handled that call, you would be able to see here, let's see, with the receiver extension. So based off of the extensions that are set up in the office, you could then further filter them out by putting in a certain team member's extension if they're tied to a certain extension. Um, like I said, this receiver extension, it's going to be wherever that call ended up. So this might vary practice to practice depending on their setup, but that is what I would recommend for that sort of workflow there. All right, Lauren has another question here. Is there any way to include the length of the call on the call screen, main screen, or a way to use the length of call as a search filter? That's a great question. Right now, that is not a filter in here, but I think that's great feedback that we could absolutely provide to our product team as they, try to make our product more tailored to you and the customer. So not right now, but that's great feedback, Lauren. Thank you. All right. I'm going to go ahead and continue on. We'll continue with questions here in a little bit, but just want to keep some of this momentum going. So I'm going to go ahead, show our next screen, which is our missed calls page. So this is here in this calls page on the left-hand side. This is a really great page because it's going to narrow down all of the missed calls that are coming into the office. So as you can see here, you see missed calls, so the total missed calls, these active opportunities, which are going to be every time a patient calls in and their call wasn't answered, that's going to create a active opportunity. And then you're going to see resolved opportunities here as well. This number here is a recoverable revenue estimate. So this is just a benchmark estimate for how much revenue these active opportunities could be bringing into the practice if they are looking to book an appointment. You'll see this resolve opportunities will show you how many total and then how many were actually booked. And then again, we have just a estimated recovered revenue. It's just an estimate of how much revenue is estimated that was recovered from these patient bookings that were able to get booked from those recovered missed calls. And I just want to note that Peerlogic does define missed calls a little bit different, or it might vary per practice, I should say. A missed call is going to be any call that was not successfully handled by a person at the practice. So an inbound call is going to be considered missed if a patient never spoke with a staff member, if the call eventually ended in an automated system, so such as a voicemail or an answering machine, even if a person may have briefly picked up earlier. This will also include calls where the caller hung up during the auto attendant, in the call queue, or any call that went to voicemail. And it includes calls where the call might be terminated at a number or extension that has been configured by the practice to automatically be marked as missed. So just want to point out there that there could be a little bit of nuance depending on how your phone system's set up. But generally, those missed calls will create opportunities here. And then another thing here to point out is that you will see on this first outbound follow-up call, you'll be able to see the follow-up call that was made, and you'll be able to see any open or working statuses of calls that are still needing follow-up. Moving on to this insights page, this is a missed call graph that's going to show you the time of day where missed calls may be peaking. So this is a great place that I recommend looking just to see, where in the office are those missed calls spiking. That way you can kind of make changes internally to see where those missed calls can be captured. As you can see for this practice, it looks like they're spiking at lunch, which maybe they take a lunch break, and maybe there just needs to be some staggering there. Couple of different instances where that could cause this, but this is a great place to see if you're wanting to, drive down those missed calls. All right, let's see. All right, I see Shelby's getting to some of those questions there, so I'll go ahead and continue on and we'll make sure all those questions get answered here by the end of this. Okay, we're gonna go ahead now and move on to this reports tab. So I'm going to go ahead and move on to these insights. From our reports tab, these are just going to be some general inbound and outbound call statistics from the office. So here you'll find in our inbound report, you'll see some caller types. So which types of patients are calling in the most. Again, you'll see that practice versus org versus industry number. You'll see other statistics here, such as insurance providers that are mentioned the most, call sentiment, the call direction, call purposes, and then you'd like to highlight this one. This is a really cool feature, this procedures mentioned by practice. If you click into any of these, they are going to take you to the call explorer as well. So if you're looking at all of the calls or maybe you're trying to look at, those high value appointments, to make sure that you're capturing as many as you can look at all of the calls that mention an extraction, click into it, and it'll take you to the call explorer. And then maybe you can dig into the call a little bit deeper and see if that appointment was successful or whatever it might be. So that way you can kind of stay on top of those high dollar appointments. This outbound report is just going to give you some general outbound numbers such as total calls, total connected, average call duration, total minutes, etc. You'll also see some insurance insights here, so insurance providers that are mentioned, and other numbers like call duration. So just some general outbound statistics there. All right. Moving on, within our Insights tab, you will see Marketing Insights, which is going to look like this. So if you have Marketing Insights with us, or if you're interested in setting up Marketing Insights for your practice, please reach out to us. We are happy to discuss getting this set up for you all. But this is our Marketing Insights page, which is a really great page for essentially just managing all of your marketing campaigns set up with Peerlogic. So as you'll see, you can see the various campaign names that you have set up and then that phone number that is tied to that specific campaign. From this quick view here, you're able to see the total calls that came in, those that were unique, those that were connected, those that created appointment opportunities, and then you're also given a conversion rate there. So you're able to kind of just see right off the bat, which campaigns are being the most successful and bringing in the most patients to your office. So, a couple of other stats that you can see on this page, you can see the leads that are coming in from the campaigns, again, showing how many were connected, those that were converted, and then this revenue is going to be, again, just an estimated number of revenue that is getting brought into your office per those booked appointments. And then finally, this campaigns over time is going to show you the campaigns and it's going to show you all of the calls that are coming in per campaign. So again, this view is on looks like it's from March 4th to the 9th. So you can see on a daily basis which marketing campaign is the most successful and bringing in the most patient calls into the practice. You can also filter out these marketing campaigns if you want to just narrow down a specific one. If you have many marketing campaigns with us, you can also search these campaigns. So a lot of features here to help you manage your marketing campaigns and, kind of see how many appointments and how many patients are being brought in from those marketing efforts from your practice. All right, let's see here. Yes, as Shelby threw in the chat, marketing insights are available for our professional and premium customers. So many of you might already have access to this without any additional cost. So if you're interested, like I said, please reach out and we are happy to get this set up for you. If you're on our essentials package and this is something that spikes your interest for your office, you're looking to, maybe get some clear oversight with your marketing spend, please reach out to us and we are happy to discuss getting you all set up here. All right, great point there. A couple of more things to run through here in that same, let's see, where am I? Here we go. In that same insights or reports, you will see this patient search, which is going to look like this. This is just a quick feature that allows you, if we are synced with your practice management system, note that we can search patients in here. So you can just filter by name, phone number, date of birth, and it'll kind of just pull up a patient profile there. Okay, moving on to our last topic here, which is Amy. So that is going to be this little sparkle icon here in the left side. This is going to be where all of the Amy data lives. So I just want to kind of touch over our Amy's insights. Some of you might have Amy with us. This is going to be a part of our premium tier. Um, So if you are interested in this, again, please reach out. But for those of you that do have Amy, just kind of an overview of what the Amy page is going to look like. So as you'll see here, this is where all of those conversations that Amy has with patients is going to live. And for those of you who don't know what Amy is, that is our AI scheduling assistant. So anytime your practice has a call that comes in that is missed, Amy is going to reach out to try to book an appointment. Amy can also reschedule and cancel appointments and also just answer general practice questions. So it kind of just adds a little extra layer of patient outreach for your practice to kind of help out, take some workload off of the front staff. So here you'll see all of the conversations initiated. You can see this practice had 192 initiated conversations in the last 30 days. Out of those, you'll see the engagement. How many of those did the patient actually engage with Amy? And then below that, you'll see the Amy resolutions. So those that were booked. If you want to enable Amy to reschedule or cancel appointments, you'll see these here as well. And then from those booked or rescheduled appointments, you'll see an estimated booked revenue. Again, just an estimation, so you can kind of get a feel of what Amy is doing and bringing into your office by booking those appointments or maybe rescheduling them. This staff involved section is going to be it's going to show you anytime Amy needs to hand off a conversation back to the staff. This could be for a variety of reasons. Sometimes people just don't want to talk to AI, which is totally fine, and they just say, "Hey, I want to just talk to someone to the front staff." If that happens, that conversation is going to be passed over to the front staff. Or maybe the patient is looking for something that Amy is not able to handle. Staff will be notified that Amy needs help with the conversation, and then that's going to show up here in this action required number. You'll see this total handoffs, which is going to be those conversations that were handed off to the front staff, and if there's any that are outstanding from those handoffs, that will show here in that action required. So as you can see here, this practice has it all. Um, Looks like they are on top of everything, so there's no action required here. Um, but you'll be able to see those there. And then below is where you're going to see all of those conversations that Amy is having with the patients. You'll see again, similar to our call explorer, you'll see a timestamp, you'll see caller name, caller number, handoff reason. The source, we have Amy SMS, which is just texting. We have a chatbot service, so we can put on websites, and we also have Amy Voice as well. So if you have one or multiple of those set up, you'll be able to see which source that came from. And then again, the outreach status, you can see Amy's working on a couple of conversations here, and then you'll see the resolution. So if Amy was able to successfully book, reschedule, cancel an appointment, or whatever that might be. All right, everybody. That is about it that we have for the analytics dashboard. I know there's lots of questions coming into the chat, so I'm going to go ahead and move over to our Q&A. Before we do that though, I do want to I kind of mentioned it briefly earlier, but we do have Amy Voice available. Um, this is for our premium members who have Peerlogic VoIP as well. This is essentially going to be, we think of it as like a voicemail replacement. So we can tie it to the end of queues. We can have Amy pick up calls after, it's more customizable. We can have it set to pick up those missed calls during or after hours or business hours, or if you have like a lunch queue that you have set up, we can kind of plug in Amy in different areas. And it's going to be the same as our Amy SMS, where Amy is going to try to book appointments for the practice, answer questions, reschedule, cancel, all of that. So if you're interested in this, please reach out to us, and we are happy to talk to you more about it. All right. I'm going to go ahead and open up to our Q&A. And we can go ahead and start maybe with those questions that were coming into the chat. All right, so first we have Rena. Can you filter to see, oh, can you filter to see who asked to have their records transferred? Yes, so I would recommend the way you filter those sort of calls is utilizing the search transcripts bar because we don't have a specific filter for um, the call purpose being like looking for their call or call record or the sorry, record transferring. That is great feedback though, but for now, I would say absolutely utilize that search bar. So going back here, just as a little refresher, I'm just going to share my screen one more time. That is going to be this search transcripts bar. So I think that would really help you out here. You can search for, record transfer or whatever other keyword you think might be helpful, and that'll pull up all the calls where that was mentioned. All right. Great question there. Moving on, let's see. Ashley, it looks like you said you would love if notifications. Oh, you would love notifications of future enhancements. Absolutely. We definitely want to make sure we keep all of our customers updated with all of the exciting enhancements that we have. Um, so yeah, absolutely. All right. It looks like Shelby, thank you for helping out here, answering some of those questions in the chat. See, were there any that remained unanswered or any questions for those listening? All right, everybody. It looks like if your question wasn't answered, it looks like it was, but if it wasn't, please mention something in the chat. But it does look like, unless there's other outstanding questions, looks like we covered it all. So thank you all so much. We really appreciate you jumping on with us today. If maybe I hope that this was a very helpful session. Whether you use the analytics on the day to day or you're trying to figure out how you and your front staff can utilize it more and really capture the value that it has. I hope that today was helpful and that you learned something. If anyone has any questions, please feel free to reach out to myself or Shelby, who is helping me out here. She's the head of customer success here. So we are always here to help you um, get more comfortable on the dashboard. So if you want to schedule, a demo or if you need some extra support, from us, please reach out and make sure to stay connected with us on socials for product updates and tips and webinar updates. We're going to try and make this a more regular thing. So, yeah. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for attending. There's going to be a recording of the session today as well. So keep an eye out for that. But other than that, it looks like we're going to go ahead and wrap things up. So thank you, everybody. Appreciate your time, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.